Hi everyone, I'm the Plant Propagator and welcome to my channel. I am back from RF Orchids and I couldn't control myself. I try to think about what I'm doing and the space that I have and where my orchids are going when I'm out places looking at purchases. I try to be very selective with the orchids that I bring home. I don't know what happened. I think maybe some of you have experienced the same thing, but I went a little crazy. Part of the problem was I had a gift card that I needed to spend out. I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm not even paying for some of this. But it didn't help. I still bought way too many orchids that I even have space for. The problem is I am, and I'm sure you're having the same situation, my orchids are all doing well. I'm dividing a lot of my orchids, and what happens when you do that is they get bigger. When I divide them, I get 2 to 3 to 4 orchids from one, and I just run out of space. I'm also getting a little better at growing the orchids, so I'm not losing as many of the orchids as I used to. I do lose a few, and when I lose them, I'm kind of like, okay, that means that I can move some of my other orchids around. But I just, these orchids at RF Orchids in Homestead, they just looked so good. And there were so many, new hybrids that I had heard of, where I recognized the parents, or for whatever reason, that I just went and grabbed a lot of different orchids. So I'm really excited to share this haul with you. It may not seem like a lot to some of you or to other people, but I brought home 12 orchids, and I am going to struggle, I'm sure, to find space for all of them. I'll put them in temporary space, but to find, real space for them as the plants get bigger is going to be more of a challenge. Most of what I brought home are they're Cattleyas, and so most of these that you can see here, and I'm not sure how much you can see here, most of them are Cattleyas, but I brought home one Vanda. And but I'm going to start out with the dendrobiums. And one of the interesting things is that I brought home a den, and after I brought it home, I realized that I already had it. So that's another issue, is kind of like when you get too many orchids so that you can't remember all of the orchids that you have, do you need any more? And many of you would answer yes. And luckily I have orchid friends, so I can gift, and that's my plan, is to gift some of these to my orchid growing friends. Anyway, let me start out with the dendrobiums, and this is the one, this is No Porn Starbright Shazam, and it's Shazam, that's the cultivar, is spelled C-H-I-Z-A-M. And this is one that I have duplicates of, and I got this, when I get my plants home, I look them up to make sure everything is okay. I add them to my collection. I actually carry a list of all the orchids that I own, when I purchased them, and who I bought them from, and I should have known. But this orchid that I bought previously from RF, it hasn't yet bloomed, but once I saw it, the picture that I looked up on Orchid Roots, I realized that I'd already had this plant. But again, previous time I bought it, it hasn't bloomed yet. So this is a really nice, this is an unusual flared dendrobium that has some, I think it's mostly, I think it's cream colored with some yellow flaring in the petals and maybe sepals. I'm not sure exactly. But it's a small plant. It was inexpensive. The roots are growing nicely. The mix is just very light on this plant, and it's not a big plant, and it was, I think it might have been $15. So it was inexpensive, so I just grabbed it quickly, which is probably what I did last time when I picked up this same plant from RF Orchids. Again, I have to find, I know where it is, but I got to find the plant that I bought previously and see how it looks. Okay, the other one, the other dendrobium that I bought is King Dragon. The cultivar is Royal Flush. And so this one is doing pretty well. I don't know if you can tell, it's wobbly in there, which means it doesn't have a very extensive root system. It might have been recently repotted. And so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. I may repot it and see what the root system looks like on this. But this was one that caught my eye that has some really bright, again, it has some flaring two-toned petals, but it was one of the plants that was blooming. It had really dark petals with some, I think it was a combination of maybe red and darker red flaring or bicoloration in the petals. So I'll put a movie of this flower up so you can see what it looks like. This one is not close to flowering. Well, it has flowered previously, so there's a cut flower spike here, but I got to figure out how to get some good growth. It looks like a few of the canes were cut off, so there may be some issues with this plant as far as getting it in the right mix and getting good root growth on this thing. So, but I'm pretty excited to have this, and I hope I can get this to flower. Okay, some of the other ones, and I've got another duplicate right here of one that I already have that I like so much. And this, again, I bought this because it's small. I can grow it. It does really well here. So this is Encyclia cordigera, and the variety is rosea. So this is a Encyclia cordigera. This has really big bulbs here at the base of the plant, and the one that I have is right that I've grown for a couple of years that I got from Palmer is right here, and I really. Oh my goodness, I love this plant. I'm looking at it, and well, this has been blooming for a month, and not only has it been blooming for a month, it's been fragrant for all of that month, and the fragrance on this is rose. It's a classical rose fragrance, but this is really a great plant. I love the big, thick pseudobulbs here that is used for water retention. I actually had this in my pool for probably about 3 weeks, and it's still doing really well. It's still fragrant. I'm getting a little bit of shriveling of the bulbs because it doesn't get watered as often as I water the rest of them that are outside of the pool cage. But this is it's a wonderful plant, and it is the same. Actually, this says this is variety rosea, and then it's dark. So I'm not sure if it's exactly the same as this one. It's the same. It has to be. I don't know, but we'll see. So I got this plant because it has two new pseudobulbs coming out of it. I'm going to put it in a bigger pot because these pseudobulbs can get huge, and this is right at the end of the pot. So again, this is another plant that I was really excited to see. A small plant at a very good price, so I picked it up. Okay, I got a couple other small ones. So this one, this is interesting. So this was listed at RF as a cross, and this is it's listed as Laelia undulata times Cattleya jalapa cultivar Bill Teal. And this is one, when I looked at it, I just saw the top part of this tag that said Laelia undulata, and it's like, well, okay, maybe it's a species. I don't have too many species, so okay, I'll try this, but the reality of it is this is a cross, and I think this cross has been named. I don't know if there were any pictures that I was able to see of this cross, but I like this because this is a small plant. Laelia undulata can get really big, but this was a small plant, hopefully, but it looks like it's got a lot of pseudobulbs, so I think it'll stay small. It's not one of those, if you have plants that are going to get big, each new pseudobulb that comes out will be bigger. These look like all of these are small. So I'm excited to see what this is going to grow into, but it was another one of the inexpensive plants. And inexpensive means, you know, 15, 25, something like that. Anyway, let's get back to some of the other ones, because I have 12. I've got a lot to get through. So this is a common one. So this is the Brassicattleya. This is yellowbird, and this was generated years and years ago by Roy Tokunaga from R&H in Hawaii. You still see these. I don't have any of these. I see different flowers that have a mix of spotting and less spotting. It's a Brassavola nodosa hybrid. So it's a small plant. This one is just really vigorous. It's in good shape. A lot of people have this. It's an older orchid. But what I'm hoping for, we'll see what happens. I got it because it's small. I know the plant a little bit, but I don't have one of these yet. And I'm hoping to get some spotting in this plant so I can use it for crossing. It turns out a lot of people are interested in nodosa, you know, either nodosa crosses directly or something that has nodosa in the background. So this is small. It's called yellowbird. It has some slight yellow coloration with some spots. Nodosa, kind of a star-shaped flower, but not as thin petals and sepals as you get with nodosa, because I think it was crossed with a Cattleya. So it's a nice vigorous plant, and I want to see how it does here. I do have some. I've got nodosa hybrids that grow really well. I've tried a few times to grow the Brassavola nodosa, and those don't fare very well with me. I think they're really susceptible. The two nodosas, I think, are really susceptible to black rot. So, but we'll see how these do. Again, I've got a lot of a lot of nodosa hybrids that seem to do really well. Okay, let's move into some of the bigger Cattleyas that I have. Okay, so this one that's going to fall over, that it's in a small pot, and I think I need to repot this. So this is RLC Chamthong Fancy Sunset. And some of these, I got a lot of these, and I don't remember exactly what the flower on some of these look like. I think this is a flared Cattleya that has yellow with maybe some red flaring, and I'll put the picture up, and if I was wrong, I'm sorry, but I got a lot of new plants, and I remember what many of these look like after they bloom, but I got too many, and I don't know what the blooms are going to look like on this. So this has Hydei Delight, which is a big, and I got a few of those that have one of the same parents in the background. A lot of people, you know, when you look at orchid Cattleya breeding, there's a lot of the similar parents that are using some of the crosses that are really good, that impart some nice characteristics to the flower itself. So this is a big yellow. Hydei Delight is if I'm saying that right, is a big yellow flower with has a large lip on it. So we'll see what happens with this one. Again, it's in a small pot. The root system on this, I bought this one because the root system on this was just so so great. A new pseudobulb here, and well, we'll see. All right, so let me move on. And these are some big, nice Cattleyas. I don't think it won't fall off the table. Okay, so over here this is a RLC. Oh, okay, this is our RLC Toshi Aoki Starburst, and I lost my Toshi Aoki that I had previously. It did bloom for me, and then it didn't bloom for me, but I lost it before it bloomed. And what I'm hoping is that this one is a really vigorous plant. This has 3 new pseudobulbs growing out of it. This specific cultivar that's called Starburst has some really nice coloration. So Toshi Aoki, I'm getting a lot of yellow flowers. There's a yellow flowered Cattleya, but I think I have some darker flaring in the petals on this specific specific cultivar. A real vigorous plant. It's in a big pot. I think I can leave it in here. You know, when I got so many, I think what I want to do is just, you know, just hang these up, you know, on my fence behind me, on my pergola over there. And I think that's where Toshi Aoki is going to go. Okay, this is big. Okay, so this is, and what I do is I pick, when I'm at RF, I pick the plants that are nice looking, that have nice roots similar to what's growing out of the pot here, but then also that are making lots of nice pseudobulbs. But there's plenty of space. I can keep it in this pot for a little bit longer. Okay, so this is RLC Plone Pit Glory. Cultivar is Sunshine, and I wasn't able to find an image of this anywhere. So when I'm shopping at RF Orchid, I'm looking online, I'm looking at my phone, I'm looking at Orchid Roots, which for some reason my internet access was just really slow when I was shopping, and I had to ask Mike what this was, Mike at RF, and he said this is a huge yellow flower, and it's got High Delight again for the parent, and is that the same parent? Yeah, same parent. All right, sorry. Sometimes what happens is that you use like a common name like Heidi, and it'll have a different second name associated. But this is the same parent as this one right here, which is a big yellow flower. And Mike explained this to me, is this is a big yellow flower, again with a huge lip. So this potentially can be used in order to get a big lip into some of the other Cattleya hybrids that I have. So, but he said, you know, he's a good salesman. He said, oh, it's beautiful, big lip, nice Cattleya. So, and because I couldn't find it anywhere in where I was looking, I couldn't find it, so I had to ask him what it was, and he told me, and he sold me on it, which is what he's good at doing. Okay, let me grab this one. And so this is RLC Chinese Beauty, and the cultivar is Orchid Queen. This is an older Cattleya that I was familiar with, and this has a really nice flaring in the petals, I think in the sepals also, of this orchid. My memory of this is that this is intensely fragrant, and so I'm hoping to get, and again, this is a nice plant with good root systems, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new pseudobulbs coming out of this plant, so a real rapid, vigorous grower. And the thing is, it grows rapidly like that for RF. And the reason I like going to RF is because I can bring the plants home from RF, leave them in the pot, and they do well here. So experience tells me, I've shopped there a lot because I bring it home, and I've got some plants that are around that have been in the same pot for 2 years that are now starting to grow over the edge of the pot, and I need to divide and repot. But they do well. Many of the orchids that I buy from other places, they grow for, you know, they'll grow for a little while, and then the potting mix, whatever, then they're in the same, they rot in the pot. For whatever is in here, and I think I know what's in here, but whatever's in here, these orchids do really, really well in my environment. You know, same might not be the case for you, but in my environment, these orchids do grow well in the potting mix that RF uses. You know, maybe I should suggest that he sell the potting mix just in itself. I don't know if he does or not. I don't think he does. Okay, so moving on, I want to do this one next, and I got to be careful with these guys. Okay, so this is RTH, this is Fuchs Orange Nugget, and I think there's a cultivar, yeah, Golden Orange. So I got this because I've used Fuchs Orange Nugget in my crosses, and what happens is I go to meetings, people bring in Fuchs Orange Nugget. It's a beautiful plant, it gets awarded, I really like the plant, and then I ask them for Pollinia and I bring it home and I use it for crosses. It was time for me to buy one myself. So what better thing that can I do than to buy Fuchs Orange Nugget from Bob Fuchs? And I saw him when I visited RF Orchids, and you know, and we talked for a little bit, and it was a good visit. But I felt I had to get Fuchs Orange Nugget from Bob Fuchs, add it to my collection, so here it is. I like using this in crosses. The orange coloration, maybe orange with some of the yellows here. It's gonna make a nice flower. I have some. I actually have a new hybrid that I named Corn Nugget, that has Orange Nugget as one of the parents. And so I'm excited about this because what you get is, you know, the orange flowers. You get multiple flowers per spike. Plants are really vigorous. They do really well. So this is Fuchs Orange Nugget from Bob Fuchs at RF Orchids. Okay, so last one. Nope, second to last one. I don't want to forget the last one, but this is, and I bought this, I picked this up, and I checked it out, and then I was shocked that this is the most expensive orchid I've ever bought from someone. So this is Cattleya violacea semi-alba, and he had a few of these here. These looked really, really good. So I don't have that many species, so this is a species Cattleya. There's really nice you know, pseudobulb growth. There's a few different leads on this. That's interesting. Maybe I'll get a close-up. It almost looks like there's it almost looks like variegation. I'll get some close-up of that and insert it. Variegation in one of the leaves there. So there's some light, you know, non-chlorophyll, or maybe either white or light yellow sector of this leaf. That's interesting. I didn't see it when I bought this, but that could be interesting. I only see it in one leaf. Yeah, I don't see it anywhere else. Anyway, the plant is really vigorous, has lots of nice roots growing, you know, through the pot, outside the pot. I bought this, and there was a non-semi-alba that was right next to it, but I liked the semi-alba, and I saw it, and I picked it up. And I thought that the cost of this was the cost of the non-alba cultivar variety, but I ended up getting it, and I looked on my receipt and was like, whoa, okay. So see how it does. I'm pretty excited to have this. I like doing I like doing crosses. I'm going to do more of the species crosses, and we'll see how those do for me. I hope I'm going to put this, because it is now I think it might be my most expensive purchased orchid. I have to put this in a prime place where I don't think I'm going to have any issues. So I'm going to take really good care of this. It is a species, so it's not as vigorous, doesn't look quite as nice as some of these other hybrids. So again, I'm going to have to take really good care of this plant. So again, this is a Cattleya violacea semi-alba. Okay, the last thing that I want to show you, and I don't know why I did this, but I did it, and yay, it's mine. So I went through RF, that's known for their Vandas, and I asked someone, I said, where's your most fragrant Vandas? And so what happened is I was shown 3 different Vandas, and I did the smell test. So I went to one, smelled it, and it was a nice fragrance, but not quite what I was looking for. I went to the second one, and it was a strong fragrance, but not nice. And then I went to the third one, which was this. Now, it wasn't this plant, it was a clone of this plant, and I smelled it and I said clear winner, because for me it was a nice fragrance and it was strong, and it was actually a nice flower also. This is a Vanda Pond, Washington. The cultivar is Peridot. And this is doing really well. Now, I'm not sure, I bought this thinking that I'm just going to hold on to it for the plant propagator junior when she comes visit, and it's for her, but I don't know if I have space for it, and I may have to kind of move things around. I don't do well with Vandas unless they're mounted on trees, and I actually have an Arides right back here that's going to bloom for the first time for me that I'm really excited about. But I've got a few Vandas around me that are blooming, but it's only the ones that I put on trees, and I think it's because I don't water these guys every day. It gets so hot in the summertime. The people at RF said that they water sometimes twice a day their Vandas because it's so warm. But this has a really nice flower to it. I think it's a light, a light purple flower. But again, the thing that drew me to this plant was the incredible fragrance. And this is a nice plant. Now, they didn't have this up front. I couldn't pick from this. There was one of these that was flowering that was in their display area, and then she had to go back to the back houses where the public is not allowed in order to pick this up. So I'm excited to have it. I'm not sure really what I'm gonna do with it at this point, but. And that's number 12 of these orchids. So I hope you stayed with me through this long video. I am orchid rich. I am not buying another orchid for 6 months. With the amount of seedlings that I have that I'm transplanting the larger pots, and with the limited amount of space that I have, this is it. I do have a lot. I have a first bloom on a dendrobium that I'm going to share with you later. I've got I've got a lot of orchids that are coming into bloom. I've got a Maikai. I think it's early for Maikai to be blooming, but one of my Maikais that actually has the seed caps on the plant is blooming, and I'll share that with you next time. So I've got a lot of things to share with you. It's starting to get, I don't know if you can tell, I'm starting to get warm. It's starting to get warm here. High humidity. These guys are going, it's perfect for them. It's a little warm for me, but if they like it, I like it, so I'm good. All right, that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed my long video. If you did and you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me out if you can click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, that's all I have for today. Again, I hope you enjoyed it, and happy propagating.